Hi everybody, welcome to Cozy Kitten Digital channel, a channel all about digital planning, productivity and learning. So today I thought I'd have a look at the Barefoot Investor as well as show you how we implement the Barefoot Investor ourselves. So for you, those of you who don't know, the Barefoot Investor is a book by Scott Pape, and it's all about being smart with your money, but also being smart with your money in a really easy, simple way that doesn't have you crunched over spreadsheets for hours upon hours. So yes, I'll be going through the basics of this book, but I do advise, if you are interested in the concept and in a very easy to follow way of handling your money and getting to a place where you feel comfortable one day retiring, I do suggest reading this book because it's more nuanced than what I will be looking at today. In fact, he has wonderful tips on how to get the best deal for your super or your pension for your non-Aussies out there. And so many other tips just to cut back on your daily expenses. So definitely give it a look. It's a really good read. He also has a book for families, so if it's not just you or you and a partner, definitely give a look at the Barefoot Investor for families. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what we will be discussing today is a four-parter: how Scott Pape recommends it, so the bank accounts you needed and how the money will be split into this bank account, and then how I do it and why I do it differently and how it suits us better that way. With the Barefoot Investor, it is flexible enough so that you can make it suit your lifestyle. And yeah, let's get further into it. So, how the Barefoot Investor suggests making up accounts. You've got two types of monies. You've got the blow money and you've got the grow money, which, as it suggests, you've got the money that you spend and the money that you use to grow your assets or help you out of situations. So he suggests three bank accounts: the daily expenses, the splurge, and the smile for the blow section. And he suggests two in the grow section called the fire extinguisher and the mojo. You'll see the mojo is in a different color. That's because he recommends having this in a completely separate bank, where you don't have easy access for it, where these four are at the same bank so you can easily transfer money from each to the other. So what these essentially are, the daily expenses would be, as it says, your daily expenses. So your rental mortgage, your food, your utilities, so whether it's insurance, whether it's gas and electricity, internet, all of that comes out of the daily expenses. Then you have a splurge banking account. So that's the non-essential expenses. So if you're going out for drinks, if you're buying yourself some electronics, or cheap electronics that is, if you pampering yourself with a massage, that comes out of the splurge account. Then there's the smile. So this is your longer term spoil. So if you're saving for an iPad Air, for instance, or MacBook, or something like that, or if you want to go on holiday, that goes to your smile account. These are all monies that you spend over different periods of time. Then your fire extinguisher is partly a fire extinguisher in that if the fires are burning, you use this to help you out. So if you have crippling credit debt, if your house burnt down and you need to replace everything, this is long-term spend. And even if there isn't a crisis, despite the name, it's where you're saving for your deposit for a house. It's once you've paid off your house, it's where you increase your super or your pension. It's where you do investments from. And then you get the mojo. So that's just there to just give you a little extra boost in your step, as the name suggests, in that knowing that you have a safety blanket. So you have a backup salary of at least 3 months in the mojo, so that if you were to lose your job, you can still pay off everything you need to pay off, still go on as usual while you're looking for your next job. So it's just that way of sleeping calmly at night and knowing that if you did lose your job for whatever reason, the sky is not yet falling. How you manage your money in these different accounts. So let's start with the blow section. You'll put 60% of your salary in your daily expenses, 10% in your splurge, 10% in your smile. Then going on to the grow, 20% of your salary goes into the fire extinguisher. And for your quick-minded mathematics out there, you might have noticed that that already makes up your 100%. So what goes into the mojo? And that's any extra money that comes in. So let's say you have your daily expenses and you have a surplus at the end of the month because you were very frugal. That goes in there. Let's say you get a good tax return. That goes in there. You win a little bit of money in the lottery, maybe $100. That goes in there. In the end, you start off with 2,000. So when you start this whole situation off, you start with 2,000 in there. Then you make sure you have a 1 month salary, that's your next goal, and then 3 months salary, and then it can wait. You can obviously add more, but then that's up to you. It might be better off in the fire extinguisher. Within these, the 60% of the daily expenses, that gets cut in half, where 30% of it goes to housing. So whether that's your mortgage or whether that's your rent, it goes in there. If you're paying more than that, you're living above your means. Then you pay your utilities, your transport, your insurance, and your groceries. These will differ from person to person. So for instance, I have a company car, so I have no transport costs. So more can be split in other directions. But again, this is all up to you. So I hope that explains how the Barefoot suggests using your blow money. And a final comment on the grow money. So your 20% fire extinguisher, that will be a different account at different times. So at first it will be there to get rid of your debt. Then it'll be there to grow a house deposit. Once you've got a home deposit and you're paying off your mortgage, you'll invest in a couple of things like equities or whatever it is. Then once you have a little bit of passive income stream from your equities, you then start paying off your mortgage faster. Once that's done, you pump it all into your retirement fund. So that's how the fire extinguisher progresses from one point to the next. How we do it differently, just because we do live a bit more frugally than most, we've split it up in two different banks. We've got Bank 1 and Bank 2. Bank 2 is where we have our home loan. So in Australia, you get something called an offset account, where any money saved in that offset account helps go against interest to your home loan. So if you save it up there, it does count towards your home loan and just lessening the burden of that interest. So what we decided to do is the bank accounts that are going to see high traffic, so your daily expenses and your minimum splurges, those go into bank account that don't do anything for us. So those are in Bank 1. But those where there's a bit more saving involved that can build up interest, those go into our offset account. So we've put our fire extinguisher, smile, and mojo into that account. Other than that, what we've also done differently is we've got my splurge and my husband's splurge. I am someone who spends more than my husband does, so I tend to use my splurge money a lot faster than he does, and he likes to save up for bigger buys, so he tends to keep his splurge money a bit bigger than mine. So we thought it's better for general use to split it. So there is no bank account where we used to splurge together. We've kept that as the smile account, so we put a little bit more money into the smile than we would have otherwise. So this is both our short-term splurge and long-term savings for bigger splurges that we have. So We also do daily expenses differently, so we don't have our mortgage come out of our daily expenses because our mortgage is part of the second bank. So our mortgage repayments comes out of our fire extinguisher. So how we split our money is my husband's salary goes into the second bank account and mine goes into the first. And then of our total salary, 30% goes into our daily expenses, 2.5 goes into our separate splurges, so that makes a total of 5%, which is half of the total splurge. What we do is we put 15% into the Smile, which is 10% of Smile, 5% together splurge. We have our fire extinguisher, which gets half of our income because it's 25% of it is our mortgage and the other 25% is saving. So we are saving a little bit more, but in the end it all does go into the same housing benefit. So we decided to pay off our house even faster. You will also notice that with the fire extinguisher, it being 50%, it is the 20% of the fire extinguisher as the Barefoot Investor suggests, as well as the 30% of mortgage. We're lucky, however, only 25% of our mortgage, of our income is our mortgage, so that's why we're saving that little bit extra. But as said, it does go into the house in the end. I do work on commission as well, so if I do get a little bit of extra commission, it's supposed to go into Mojo, which some of it does, but what we decided to do is to then give ourselves a little bit of extra splurge and Smile money, and then also a little bit extra into the fire extinguisher, because at this point our Mojo is pretty close to having 3 months worth of salary in. So even if one of us were to lose our jobs, they could actually be unemployed for 6 months. Or if both of us lost our jobs, then we'd be able to carry on for 3 months. So we're very close there thanks to tax returns and previous commission, which is why we've decided to split up my commission further that way. So that is how we use the Barefoot Investor. However, how we got to that wasn't just by reading the book, but also using the book and following it to the letter from the start, and then just seeing how that fits into our daily lives. We found that because of our individual needs, we can't follow it to the letter, which is why we adapt it. Which is why my advice to everyone out there is read the book. Everybody's individual needs are different, so you need to know what's in the book and the tiny details to know how you can adapt it. But it is definitely thanks to this book that we had a deposit for the house, that we have that safety net in the Mojo and all of that. So I would definitely recommend giving it a read. It may be for you, it might not. But if you do read it, give me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Is it for you? Are you going to try it? If you have any questions, also add it in the comments below. If you'd like any more videos on productivity and on digital planning, on learning, which is where this falls under, hit that subscribe button and please hit like. I would really much appreciate your support. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Keep safe out there.